What's the worst thing a school nurse has done to your kid? My son's school called, saying 8-year-old Lucas had fallen off the monkey bars and was crying about his arm. When I got there, the front office receptionist smiled at me calmly. "Oh, Lucas is fine. The nurse already handled it." She held up her hand to stop me from walking past. "Handled it how?" I asked. "She wrapped it and gave him ice. He's already back in class." I stared at her. "He fell off the monkey bars onto concrete, and you just put him back in class?" She shrugged. The nurse assessed him. No emergency. I pushed past her and went straight to his classroom. Lucas was sitting at his desk, tears streaming silently down his face. His left arm wrapped in an ace bandage propped on a textbook like a pillow. The wrap was so tight his fingertips had turned dark purple. I knelt beside him, and he whispered, "Daddy, it hurts so bad. I can't feel my fingers anymore." I looked at his teacher. "Why is he in class with a possibly broken arm?" "The nurse cleared him," she said without looking up. I carried Lucas to the nurse's office. Mrs. Greer was eating a sandwich, scrolling her phone. She looked annoyed. "Oh, you must be Lucas's dad. He's perfectly fine. Honestly, he's being a little dramatic about the whole thing." I told her to unwrap the bandage. She sighed and peeled it off. His forearm was swollen to nearly double its size, with a visible bend in the middle that made my stomach flip. "This arm is broken," I said. "You can see the deformity right there." She barely glanced. "I've been a school nurse for 22 years. That's not a break. That's swelling. Kids bump themselves and cry about it all the time. They're dramatic." I scooped up Lucas and drove straight to the ER. The x-ray showed 2 complete fractures in his forearm, radius and ulna, both snapped clean through. The doctor studied the deep purple marks the tight bandage had left on his skin. "Who wrapped his arm like this?" he asked. "The school nurse," I said. He shook his head. "This compression wrap on fractures could cause compartment syndrome." His fingers were purple because blood flow was being severely restricted. The swelling had nowhere to go. If this stayed on a few more hours, he could have lost permanent function in that hand. Maybe the whole hand. My vision went red. I called the school from the hospital. The principal answered cheerfully. "Mr. Torres, how's Lucas doing? Your nurse sent my son back to class with 2 broken bones, wrapped so tight he was losing circulation. The doctor said his hand could have been permanently damaged." He paused for 1 second. "Well, Mrs. Greer is very experienced. I'm sure she used her best judgment." That was the wrong answer. Next morning, I drove to the school with the x-ray films, the doctor's written report, and photos of Lucas's purple, swollen fingers. I didn't go to the principal's office. I went straight to the PTA meeting, already in session. 30 parents in folding chairs. I walked to the front and held the x-rays up to the window light. "This is my son's arm. 2 fractures. Your school nurse wrapped it, cut off his blood flow, told him he was dramatic, and sent him back to do math." Dead silence. I showed photos of his dark purple fingertips and the bandage marks pressed into swollen skin. The doctor said a few more hours, and my son might never use his left hand again. He's 8 years old. A father in the back stood up. "She told my daughter her sprained ankle was growing pains. Sent her back to gym class. She limped for 3 weeks before we got it checked." Then another parent. "She refused to call me when my son had an allergic reaction at lunch. Said his face was flushed from recess. I found out from his teacher at pickup." The principal stepped forward. "This isn't the appropriate forum for this discussion." A mother in front stood and faced him directly. "This is exactly the appropriate forum. We filed complaints individually, and every single one was ignored." The school board launched an investigation that week. Mrs. Greer's nursing license was reviewed and suspended. The principal was reassigned to a desk job at the district office. Lucas got his cast, 8 weeks of physical therapy, and made a full recovery. But every time I watch him flex the fingers on his left hand, grip a baseball, or write his name at the kitchen table, I remember how close we came to him never doing any of that again. All because a school nurse with 22 years of experience looked at 2 broken bones and a child with purple fingers and decided he was just being dramatic.